Welcome to Beer and Baseball, a Myrtle Beach Pelicans production. I am your host, Adam Dellinger. But before we get to today's pod, here are a few housekeeping notes. First off, this is a new podcast, so the more you share, the more listeners we obtain. Where can you listen, you might ask? On the iHeart Podcast Network and also on the Myrtle Beach Pelicans YouTube channel. Listen, subscribe, review, 5 stars would be great, and share. That's all we ask. Now, let's go.
Welcome to Beer and Baseball. That is Ryan Moore's tentative name for this particular podcast. So we are going to run with it. My name is Adam Dellinger. It is a pleasure to be on a 58-person Zoom call right now, and we're going to turn it into a podcast. Last week when we did this, we sort of started by kind of, going around the virtual room, if you will, and letting everybody sort of give a short introduction, because who wants to hear me speak? You folks are interesting. So, Courtney, if you want to go ahead and get started, feel free.
Sure. I'm Courtney Nels. I am the Director of Community Engagement for Minor League Baseball. I'm based in St. Pete, Florida. I actually live in Tampa, Florida. I have been with Minor League Baseball for almost 6 years now, overseeing community engagement. I was also a part of the special events team for a while. We do a bunch of initiatives that we push out to the teams to help give them additional assets to utilize, and we also just support all of the community outreach that the teams do themselves. We look to support and enhance what they're doing for their communities, and we also oversee we have our own 501c3 MiLB charities that we utilize to donate out during events like that we're going through right now, and different disasters that happen throughout the year, hurricanes, tornadoes, and such. And so I guess that's a brief overview of what I do.
Courtney, fantastic. And not to be understated here, but you didn't actually mention the fact that you have a personal involvement with Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Tampa, and I think that's fantastic. You should be applauded for that.
Yeah.
No problem. GC, Greg Coleman, hit me, buddy. Give it to me.
All right. Well, Greg Coleman, I'm the president of the Erie SeaWolves. We're the AA affiliate of the Detroit Tigers. I'm now in my 9th season with the team, and it's been a blast. I got 22 years in minor league baseball under my belt. We're a team that believes in being involved with the community. If we're good to the community, then the community will be good to us. And so it's just a part of the fabric of what we do. And love the game of baseball. Can't imagine doing anything else for a career, and can't wait to get back out on the field.
Greg, fantastic. And we're going to come back to you too, because you also have a near and dear charity you're involved with, the Miracle League group there. We'll come back to that here shortly. And Austin, where are you, dude? And what shoes are you wearing right now?
Hey, thank you so much. My name is Austin Scher. I'm the assistant general manager of the Daytona Tortugas. We are the Advanced A affiliate of the Cincinnati Reds. I am in Daytona Beach, where, if you guys were unaware, it's always 75 and sunny, regardless of what the weather is and what time of year it is. We are thrilled to also operate our own 501c3, the Tortugas Care Foundation. Love giving back to the community in a unique tourist-driven market. We view ourselves as a pillar of the local community, and everything that we do, we've kind of formulated a hashtag and rallying cry for the 386. It's the area code that stretches across, for the most part, Volusia County up into Flagler County, and everything we do is for the people that live and work, send their kids to school, pay taxes right here in Volusia County. Today I've got on my pine green Jordan 1s, Tortugas colors, to go along with this fantastic new hat available in our store, and the opening night hangover jersey that we wore last year. So thrilled to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
Quick question. Are the Jordan 1s in that particular colorway also available in the club shop?
They are not. They sold out very, very quickly. And I actually was lucky enough to be swinging back past the Volusia Mall, one of our great partners, from an event at the ballpark. I missed out on buying them online, and I just so happened to be one of the lucky few to snag one at the local Champs. So if anybody would like to, I will auction these off gladly for charity, but the bidding has to start like a minimum of $250. I'm not going below that.
Hey, fair enough. And I'm going to get back to that sneakerhead thing you have going on too, and the fact that you spent some time in Greensboro there. Thank you so much, Austin. Rachel, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I am living my best life right now. If you would, tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I am Rachel Mark. I am the National Campaign Director for Versus Cancer. We are one of 3 fundraising campaigns for the Pediatric Brain Tumor Foundation, which is the largest foundation in the U.S. dedicated to finding a cure for the deadliest disease affecting children in our country, which is brain tumors and brain cancer. So I had in a past life, I had some experiences in minor league baseball with a few teams and was able to make the switch over to Versus Cancer a couple years ago and have been riding this ride ever since.
You notice a theme too before we speak to Vince now. But if you're listening to Beers and Baseball right now, first off, we appreciate it. But all the folks within minor league baseball, and this extends to Major League Baseball as well. But you guys, despite the fact that you may not even be in baseball anymore, you transition to something else, you all have an intense community-driven focus and the heart to help people around you, and that's much appreciated. And such a big part of minor league baseball as well. Vince, you are, can we say the director of a massive undertaking with your new ballpark? We're going to talk about that in a little bit too, but tell us a little bit about yourself, buddy.
Yeah, so my name's Vince Marcucci. I'm the assistant general manager of the Kannapolis Cannon Ballers, newly named as of October 23rd. We're getting ready to open Atrium Health Ballpark here in Kannapolis. I've been down in Kannapolis for about 2 years, but this is about to be my 9th season in minor league baseball. And I'm really excited to, just bring this to the community and give them something to be proud of again after the mills closed and the city didn't really have a lot going for it for a while.
Not to mention that not only the new ballpark there, the new ballpark would be one massive undertaking, but a rebranding on top of it is something else entirely. You know what, Vince, while I've got you here, let's just go ahead and start there instead of bouncing around. What is more difficult, the rebrand or the moving parts and logistics associated with opening a new stadium? How do they intertwine, and what's been the biggest headache?
They're both huge, but I think that the good thing about a rebrand is a lot of it is done the year prior. So once we made the announcement in October, our new name was out there, our new brand was out there. We've had some smaller events throughout the past couple of months of announcing our mascot's name and stuff like that. And we've kind of transitioned through 18 months of building a new ballpark from breaking ground in October of 2018 to right now, where we're basically just doing the fine detail stuff and finishing the kid zone, and then the ballpark's ready to roll.
A rebrand in minor league baseball is always really fascinating. I'm from Winston-Salem, so when I grew up, I went to Ernie Shore and I watched the Spirits play baseball. And then I got a little bit older and I went and watched Wally the Warthogs play baseball. And then I got a little bit older and, of course, the Dash came along. Now, I should ask you, the Dash did this community voted deal or whatever. What was the process behind deciding on the new mascot, the new team name? How'd you guys go about doing that?
So for the team name, we basically just asked for input. We didn't do a fan vote. We had over 1,200 name submissions, everything from possums to race car drivers and everything in between. We settled on Cannon Ballers because of Cannon Mills, and the city of Kannapolis was founded by the Cannon family. It's just kind of a testament to who the people of Kannapolis are and what we want to continue to bring as far as like grit and determination in our community.
Is there anybody in Kannapolis right now that is angry the team is not called the Kannapolis Dale Earnhardt Juniors?
Yes, probably a couple.
That always seems to be a thing here too. Can I shift back to Greg real quick? Greg, are you there?
Yep, sure am.
Greg, I would imagine in your time in baseball, all 7,000 years that you mentioned earlier, you too have been a part of some rebrands as well. In your experience, what are the challenges associated with that from, somebody that's been around for a long time?
Well, I guess start by saying that when you're developing something, you want to make sure that you unveil the name and the logo, hopefully at the same time, because if you announce the name first, then all of a sudden people get an idea of what that should be. And no matter what you come up with after that fact, it doesn't align with what's in their head. So it doesn't matter. It could be the best thing in the world. And by the way, Cannon Ballers logo is fantastic. Daytona is fantastic. Both Studio Simon projects?
We are.
All right, I think, right? So is Erie. So we all got pretty good taste, I think. But you just need to make sure that you've done your homework. You want something that's going to be locally relevant. You want to make sure that it looks good, that you pick a good design firm, and that you give yourself room to grow within that brand. And so, you look, no matter what, especially in this age of social media, you're not going to keep everybody happy. There's just no chance. But if you've done your homework and you come up with something that's relevant, I think you can be very, very successful with it.
And that's plenty of great feedback there as well, Greg. I did want to, I mentioned earlier too, that you guys are all incredibly community focused. And I think that the way that you rebrand and the way that you involve the people in the communities that ultimately keep the baseball teams afloat is a testament to your community involvement. But I wanted to ask Courtney about this. Can you tell me a little bit about this innovators meeting that you do and maybe some of the work there involving the charity work there?
Yeah, absolutely. So every year we technically have two big meetings of people who work in minor league baseball. One being the big baseball winter meetings that's in December, that's along with Major League Baseball. But then we have a smaller, more intimate meeting called Innovator Summit, formerly known as Promo Seminar. It is not only on the community side, just in general, it's a great networking opportunity. And I think all of us are really fingers crossed that we're going to be able to do it again in September this year, because I think everyone's favorite part about the event is just seeing each other in person and face to face and getting to know each other a little bit better. And on the community relations side, not only being able to share ideas and steal ideas from each other, but we also do a big community service project every year. We get usually 100+ volunteers from the attendees to go out and do something good for an organization within that community. Our thought is we're coming to this community and we want to leave something behind good. We work with the local team to select what that project is, either a partner of theirs or a need that they know is out there and that 100 people can do within a few hours. So that's sometimes a task on figuring out what that project is and who can handle 100 people to just show up and work hard. And I do also have to say that our people, people who work in minor league baseball, are hard workers and efficient workers and enthusiastic workers. And we usually do the project in much shorter of a time than they ever expect. And I always tell them that, but then we still always go over above and beyond what they expect. So it's always a fun time to not only give back, but to also interact with each other on another level.
And I believe that maybe everybody here on the call has probably participated in one of those summits at some point. And that kind of leads me into the transition I want to make here over to Rachel, because you mentioned finding out, Courtney was just speaking about finding out about new ways to be involved in the community. Now, Rachel, when you were working in minor league baseball, I assume that that's where you found and started working with the Versus Cancer campaign. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I had the opportunity while I was working in Scranton, Pennsylvania with the Yankees AAA affiliate to start a partnership with Versus Cancer and continue to do that year after year until having the opportunity to move over and work for the organization full time. That's how the relationship started and my love for the mission and the people really came to fruition.
Fantastic, Rachel. And I got to move back to Austin. I'm going to ask you a question about Greensboro. When were you in Greensboro, buddy?
Yeah, so I was in Greensboro from 2016 through the 2017 season, and was actually down the road the other direction from you in Burlington in 2015. So, know and love Central North Carolina. And before I forget to say it, shout out Vince and the entire Kannapolis crew. I think in terms of impressive work over the last 18 to 24 months, you're hard pressed to find. Well, shoot, I'm going to say Greg too, undertaking the massive improvements to that ballpark that they have done over the past few years. But a special shout out to Kannapolis for doing something really, really special in a really neat part of the state that I can't wait to see the dividends it pays over the next few years.
With that said, too, just to piggyback on the idea about the amount of work that Vince and the staff up there put in, and that goes for all of you guys as well. I had the pleasure of moderating the GM meetings for the Carolina League this year, and if anybody's listening right now and you don't know about the amount of work that these folks behind the scenes, they're not turning double plays at second base, but if they don't show up to work every day, none of that stuff happens. So shout out to you guys and kudos to that. And while I've got you here too, Austin, I've got a bio, and it doesn't make any sense. So I want to ask you questions about it, okay?
Okay.
Austin has proudly represented his hometown of Durham and his alma mater, the University of Wisconsin, everywhere he's been. Aside from being the Badgers' #1 fan, Austin enjoys investing far too much emotional energy in the Yankees, the Giants, and the New York Knickerbockers, bro. You're from North Carolina, and I'm just going to be honest with you, bro. So am I. We wasn't raised that way, dude. What happened?
So I'm going to, believe it or not, I'm going to spin this back into a minor league baseball question. So being from Durham, the only professional sports I knew growing up were the Durham Bulls and Duke basketball. The Hornets were there in Charlotte when I was born. The Panthers were, I think, 18 months away from being there. I had Orioles games on TV closest to the north, Braves games on TV closest to the south. My grandfather was born and raised in Brooklyn as a Yankees fan, as a Giants fan, moved the family to just outside Boston before he had my father and his 3 siblings, who all were raised as Red Sox and Patriots fans. I, as the oldest and firstborn grandchild, was thrown into Yankees, Giants fandom. And then as a basketball fan, the natural allegiance was the Knicks. Going back to the Durham thing, I think Durham, Greensboro, Kannapolis, Charlotte, there's a lot of really interesting case studies throughout the state of North Carolina of what the power of a minor league baseball team can do inside of a community. When I was born, the Bulls were where I grew up. I mean, I did my field trips there. I did my birthday parties there. I have pictures of me with Willie Bull when I'm, knee high with my Little League team doing Field of Dreams. If you were ever in Durham around that ballpark from 95 through really 2005, it's night and day. Downtown Durham now sprawls in 3 directions around the DBAP, and the economic drive, the civic drive. I'm not an economist. I can't say this definitively, but I guarantee you that a lot of the massive growth that the Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill Triangle area has experienced spawned from what the Bulls did in that community. Greensboro, same thing. War Memorial Stadium, it's still a gorgeous historic site. But when they built that new ballpark, downtown has now expanded from the business district to encompass that ballpark. And what Donald and Katie and Tim and the crew there have been able to do has been nothing short of remarkable. And then, next, Charlotte, when they were down in, just across the border in South Carolina, gorgeous ballpark, amazing fan base, but you see the attendance jump and the revenue jump when they built that brand new ballpark, which now, in my opinion, has the best skyline view, arguably in all of baseball outside of Pittsburgh, but certainly in minor league baseball. So it's going to be super exciting to see what Vince and the crew do in Kannapolis to kind of follow in those footsteps. But my allegiances are all over the place, but I am steadfast in all of them, and I will not budge. The Knicks have tried everything that they possibly could have over the last 24 months to rip my heart out and stomp on it. But here I am, still, for some reason, treading along.
Including I'm a basketball fan too. I'm pretty sure this past off season they signed 5 or 6 forwards that are all the same size and all play the same position and filled up their entire cap space. So good luck, buddy. Good luck, buddy. That's all I'm going to tell you. I did want to say that I want to piggyback off of another thing that you just said. I've had the pleasure of working in media now to get to meet and talk with a lot of really cool people. A lot of those folks are athletes. And my 2 favorite sports memories are I had a birthday party. I think I was 7, and I had it at Ernie Shore. And Mike Grace came and spoke to Mike Grace was playing for the Spirits at the time. And he came up and he spoke to my friends after the game, Mark Grace's brother. Now, obviously, Mark Grace is a legendary Cub, of course, and Diamondback as well. Meeting Mike Grace at that age to me was like, oh my gosh, the biggest deal ever. And then fast forward, same town, Winston-Salem, when they built BB&T Park in just off of Interstate 40 there, Hank Aaron came and did the groundbreaking for that particular ballpark, and I got to cover that day, and I got to shake Henry Aaron's hand. Those are the 2 greatest sports memories I have from my entire life, and both of them happened because of minor league baseball. So I guess as a follow-up to that, can we just go around and everybody tell me their coolest minor league baseball experience? I know you guys probably have 1,000 of them, but I just shared 2 of mine, and I guess I could go on forever, but you guys have been around it. Let's go with the dude with the longest tenure here. Can we do that? Is GC still here?
Yeah, I sure am.
Coolest experience, man.
I think my coolest experience. So we used to be a part of the same ownership group as the Dayton Dragons, and and Dayton has just been the model of success in minor league baseball. And when they broke the all-time American sellout streak, which I don't even remember what it was at that point, but they set a new record. They had a game, and they invited out fans and the presidents of the different teams, and then part of their ownership group. So I watched that game that day with a few folks you might have heard of before that are a part of their ownership group, including Magic Johnson, Archie Griffin, who won a couple of Heisman Trophy awards. I mean, if you could be starstruck, that was the room to be starstruck in. And so that was kind of neat. Now, meanwhile, I think I probably said 10 words to anybody in that room the whole entire night, but just to kind of be a fly on the wall was really cool.
Now, I did name drop and go with the Henry Hank Aaron deal there, but you got me with a double Magic and Archie, bro. I don't even think I'm swinging in the same park. I love that. And by the way, your greatest experience, those are just 2 I shared from, but being much younger or whatever. I don't even know when BB&T, that groundbreaking was, probably 2007, so 12, 13 years ago, and I'm 36. So the Mike Grace story happened, 25 years ago or whatever. If it's just helping somebody or something you did in the community, I just want to hear it. Rachel, do you have one?
Yeah, I do. I think one of my favorite memories in minor league baseball when I was working on that side of things was in 2013. So I was working up in Scranton before I moved down to Charlotte, and we had the pleasure of seeing many a Yankee rehab in that ballpark. Most notably Derek Jeter. And he came and he was there for a few games. It was a Monday night. And so, typically a not super high attended night in minor league baseball, but sold out because Derek Jeter was going to play. And in about the 3rd inning, the outfield lights went out. And it was too dark to play baseball at that time. We had to wait for them to come on, and it's a process, right? And so, as a staff member, you're like, oh, crap, right? You got to wait for the lights to come on. You got to entertain the fans. And we didn't have to do any of that because Derek Jeter stood by the dugout and signed autographs until the lights came back on. Yeah. And that, to me, was just one of the testaments of just one, being a great person and, getting to kind of see that in real life and see that happen. But, that just always stood out in my mind of a player really stepping up to the plate and being a role model and taking the initiative. And so nothing that I did, it was everything that Jeter did, but it was a pretty cool experience.
I have a similar, I completely forgot about this, and you guys are sort of bringing back memories, but Kurt Schilling did a rehab stint with Paul Tuckett, and they played the Charlotte Knights at the old ballpark in Fort Mill. And this is back in the day where like Buster Olney would mention it in a blip, and you'd have to catch it on ESPN. But I get a call at work, and my buddy Clint calls me. He says, "Hey man, Schilling's doing a rehab stint. We got to go watch it. Got a big league player coming to Fort Mill." So we made the drive down to Fort Mill, and he pitched 3 innings. I mean, it's a starting pitcher rehab stint, and he's going about 75%. You know, he's throwing 89, 90 miles an hour. But I'll never forget when he walked back to the dugout after he got pulled. He went and he sat down for a minute, and then he came back out. And he had his hat and his cleats and his jersey, and he gave them to kids, right, that were sitting there by the dugout. And I'm just like, you know what? That's what it's all about. That's the cool part of minor league baseball. Great story, Rachel. I love that. Courtney, I know that you've got all kinds of stories because you're sort of branched out in that Tampa world down there. But I'm sure you got a good one. I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, I definitely have some, because I worked for the Tampa Bay Rays for a while, so I have some interesting stories from there. But minor league baseball, my first baseball job was with the Fresno Grizzlies. And I have 2 quick stories. One is with Tim Lincecum, which at the time was the hot commodity with the Giants, and I wasn't too in tune with that at the time. I knew he was pitching for us, and we had a jersey auction on the field, and I bumped into him on accident, and got like, that was like his joke with me for the rest of the time he was there was like, oh, because I bumped into his arm, which is like the most valuable thing. And kind of like, don't hurt that arm. And I actually was like mortified of like, oh my gosh, I can't imagine if that was my fault. But that just stuck with me because that was kind of my first ever even like player interaction in a way that I had, and it was 10 months. And the second one is so our ball is also with the Fresno Grizzlies. Our ballpark also had a soccer team, and I was in sponsorships, but when the soccer team played, I did the game entertainment to give the baseball game entertainment people some off time because they're already working a million games. And so it was me and like the smallest staff possible working this game. And we had fireworks, and it started a fire in the past the outfield. It started a fire in like this bushy area, and I'm in the control room, like on my walkie, like what do we do? I don't know what to do. And trying to figure that out. And they're just like one of the grounds crew guys running out there with a hose. But again, my job flashed before my eyes there too, thinking that I was going to burn down the ballpark, but it worked out. So those are my 2 biggest memories from there.
I don't know which punishment would have been worse if you would have torn Lincecum's labrum or lit the ballpark on fire. I don't really know what would have gotten you in the most trouble there. We've got about 5 minutes left, guys, kind of up against the clock right here. I wish I could spend the next 2 hours talking to you guys, but I did want to get to Vince real quick too, because I'm sure you've got a story. I know you've been busy with that ballpark, but tell me something good, dude.
No, I mean, it's funny that Rachel's on this call because truly, like, my favorite minor league baseball memory is doing Versus Cancer with the Wilmington Blue Rock. It was like right at the start of Versus Cancer, and I was just a community affairs assistant for the Wilmington Blue Rocks, and they let me plan the event because the majority of the community stuff was over at that point. We had an awesome event, and like 200 kids and their families out from the local children's hospital to raise money. And that was the first time I ever shaved my head for something like that. And I think I've done it 4 times since. And it's such an awesome organization to be in partnership with and everything that they do for their community and how they have it structured of where the funds go. So, I mean, for anybody who is listening from minor league baseball, definitely give them the shout out that it brings your staff, it brings your community, and brings your players together in a way that you would never imagine.
Well, I did want to mention too, and Vince, that's fantastic. I have a slew of bio write-ups from you guys that I've scribbled all over, and not one time on one of these bios is there anything about home attendance records at the top or what you've done as far as generating revenue. These bios are littered with what you've done for the community that you guys are in, and I think that again, I kind of wanted to make that the theme of what we were doing here today because I know at Myrtle Beach, we see firsthand what the Pelicans are able to do for the community, and I know you guys are doing the same thing in your respective towns as well. I want to thank all you guys. It's not enough time. GC, I feel like you probably have probably 3 hours worth of baseball stories I'd never get tired of. Austin, I want to know all about your off-whites. I want to see the entire collection. And of course, the additional charity work, the brand new ballpark versus cancer. These are individual podcasts, guys. So I hope you had a good time today, because I'd like to get all of you individually and come back and do it again if you're up for it. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, thank you for the time today, guys. Beer and baseball, a shortened version of beer and baseball. They had a lot of guests on, but it was a whole lot of fun. I thoroughly enjoyed it. My name is Adam Dellinger. Guys, thank you so much once again. I appreciate it.
For more beer and baseball, subscribe to our podcast and the Myrtle Beach Pelicans YouTube channel. You can also follow the Myrtle Beach Pelicans on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Until next time, cheers.